I'd like to introduce you to Newcomb's Wildflower Guide. This is a very useful book for identifying wildflowers, and you'll need to know how to identify wildflowers for your plant collection. This is my own personal copy, and I've had it in the field a lot, so it's kind of falling apart, but the information is still excellent. First thing you want to do is turn to the page that says the key system and how it works, and then to look on the right-hand page. This key is a little different than other dichotomous keys you may have used, because you need to first get a locator key, which is a 3-digit number. So the first thing you do is you look at the flower type, whether it's an irregular flower or a plant type, or an irregular flower, or and how many parts it has if it's a regular flower, or if there's so many parts that you can't really count them. That's the first number. The second one is the plant type, whether it's a wildflower, shrub, or vine, and if it's a wildflower, does it have leaves? If so, what kind? And or are there no leaves? And then finally the leaf type. Again, no leaves. The leaves are entire, which means that the edges are smooth, and then the leaves are toothed or lobed, and finally that the leaves are divided. And if you don't know what any of those mean, if you look on the next pages, there's an explanation of basic terms. So in this case, it shows regular flowers, which are flowers that are symmetrical, that you could get a similar kind of cross-section no matter how you would cut through them. And then irregular flowers are flowers that are bilaterally symmetrical. So if you cut through them in one specific location, you would get a mirror image on either side. And then these are examples of basal leaves all the way at the bottom. Alternate leaves, the leaves alternate sides of the stem as you go up. Opposite, the leaves are opposite as you go up the stem. And then whorled means that they go all the way around the stem. Here's some more pictures of the different kinds of leaves, whether they're toothed. Entire again has the smooth edge. And then divided leaves almost look like they're separate leaves, but really this is one complete leaf divided into leaflets. This is a page that has the floral structure, and you'll need to know the basic parts: petal. This page has the basic floral anatomy, and you'll need to know some pieces of this. For example, that the petals all together make up the corolla. The corolla can be fused, as in this case, or the petals can be separate. There are sepals around the outside, and they form the calyx, and they can be separate or fused. And then, of course, the male portion of the flower and the female portion, the stamen or the stigma, style, and ovary, which make up the pistil. And we'll get into more of that in class, but this picture is here to help you with the identification. So once you have your 3 numbers and you understand those terms, then you go to the locator key, you look up those 3 numbers, answer a few more questions, and eventually go to a page. Now the best way to use this key is to just do it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at this flower, which you may recognize. And the first question is the flower type. So this is certainly a regular flower, because you could slice through it in any direction and get a similar cross-section, more or less. And in that case, we need to know how many petals it has. And in this case, we're going to say that it has 7 or more regular petals. This is really a series of individual flowers, but for the purposes of this book, they count it as one flower. And we'll talk about that in class also. And then we have the plant type. It's a wildflower, and it does have apparent leaves. And here it's important to note that you need to look at the entire plant, because if we look here, we would say that the leaves are opposite. But if we look further down the stem, we'll see that they are alternate. So the plant may not have the same appearance, or the same structure may not have the same appearance throughout the plant. So it's important to look at the whole plant. And then finally, no apparent leaves. Well, it has leaves. And the leaves have teeth, so that gives us our third number. So our numbers are 7, 3, because the leaves alternate through most of the plants, and toothed, which is 3. So 7, 3, 3. So we go to the locator key, look over here for the group number, which is 733. And then we have some more questions. Yellow or orange flowers? Flowers not yellow or orange. Well, these are yellow or orange. Are they like dandelions or daisies? These are like daisies. Do the flower heads have a dark central disc or a yellow or green center? These have a dark central disc here, you can see. So in that case, we go to page 374, which is near the back of the book. And on page 374, we still don't have our only identification, just one. We have several. So here you can start to look at the pictures, look at your plant, look at your flower, and see if you can eliminate any. Well, it doesn't look like this, and the petals don't look like this. This is a sunflower. We probably know it's not a sunflower. So it's probably these three, one of these three. And if we look over here, it gives us the purple-headed sneezeweed, which is one we've eliminated, then a series on cone flowers, and then the other two we've eliminated. So it looks like this is a cone flower. And the next question we have to answer is this 2 to 4 inches wide, the flower, or 1 to 2 inches wide? And it looks to me like it's 2 to 4 inches. So that brings us down to black-eyed Susan or a showy cone flower. And in this case now we just need to read all the details. So for the black-eyed Susan, it says stem leaves slightly toothed or entire, stem covered with bristly hairs, disc blackish brown, 1 to 3 feet high, very common. And if we look at this, we can see that the leaves have pretty pronounced teeth, and the stem is almost devoid of bristles, so that doesn't look very likely. Let's see what the showy coneflower has. It has stem leaves coarsely toothed or cleft, so they could be even more deeply divided, and stem slightly hairy. Well, not very hairy. 1 to 4 feet high, New York to Michigan and south. So this one could be here, and so could the other one, since it says it's very common. So you have to make a decision then, and here I would look at the images, I would look at the descriptions again, and if you look at the flower for the leaf for the showy coneflower versus the one for the black-eyed Susan, this leaf is more like the showy coneflower. So I would bet on Rudbeckia speciosa, or showy coneflower. So there you go, and now you're all ready to try this yourself.